Today is a special day. A video I've been putting off for a very long time, I'm making now, and it's dedicated to the Duffield side of my family, which some of you may or may not know. My biological father didn't know his father, and we knew of his name. We knew a couple little details, but until I took a certain step and really reached out, I didn't realize that I could actually find this family. And it's really cool that I did, because there's going to be some good stuff moving forward out of this. So like I said, my dad didn't know his biological father. He grew up and he assumed the name Becker, which is my last name, from his stepdad who had adopted him. And so what I didn't know at a young age was that his whole name changed. His first name was Jesse when he was born, and I didn't realize that until I was an adult. I had an old photo of somebody that my dad said was his biological father, and he was wearing some type of a uniform, almost looked military in style. Could have been, just about anything realistically. Came to find out a little bit more about that later through the family, through the Duffield family, but just kind of wanted to let you know that. So I'd always wondered where that side of the family was and where they were from, and just, who they were. Wanted to see if I had any living relatives out there, etc. It's always been in the back of my head. So I think I saw the picture. I think my dad showed me the picture when I was a kid. I would say probably my teen years. My mom and dad split up when I was 3 years old. And my mom and I moved from the East Coast out to the West Coast, and my dad stayed on the East Coast. We did keep in contact. I did go visit him every summer. He'd come out to California every once in a while. He took me to Hawaii a couple of times. I mean, we had a good relationship. We really did. It was strained. Don't get me wrong. When you live across the continent from your biological parent, you can get strained pretty quickly. And I'm pretty stubborn. My mom and my stepdad would tell you that I could be a challenge from time to time when I was growing up. So, I think that we just both kind of went, whatever, this is good enough. And then, I grew up in Southern California. I grew up next to the ocean. I also went up to the mountains to go skiing. I grew up in the limelight of what is Southern California in the 80s. And it was a really good time, but I got in a bunch of trouble. So about a year ago, I went and decided, hey, I'm going to get one of these Ancestry DNA kits. And so I got one, I swabbed, I turned it in, and it turns out that exactly what I was expecting would come out of it came out of it. Very little surprises for me, quite honestly. I knew that my mom's whole family was Irish, so I'm half Irish. 100% of that 50%, I am Irish. I'm a quarter Ashkenazi Jew. I knew that because my dad's mother, my biological father's mother, I knew had come from that region. So it was kind of I kind of knew what to expect, but I was hoping maybe I'd get some insight into the missing piece, into the Duffield piece, right? And so I got a little bit of insight. It didn't look too far off from what I expected, which was Great Britain, Norway, Sweden, those types of countries, quite honestly. And then I looked and I saw a couple people that I matched from DNA, and I ran into one guy who had a commonality with what I was looking for in his tree. He had a Duffield name in there. So I found out who this person was, and I sent them a message on Ancestry.com, and that turned out to be David Duffield. David is my uncle, one of many aunts and uncles that I have, and so I dug in, and I sent an email saying, hey, this is who I am, and if this fits, please let me know, because I've been searching, on and off for a very long time. And turns out he knew almost right away after talking to him and telling all the specific examples of, commonalities between the families. It turns out that tall is part of our DNA from the Duffield side. So my dad is close to 7 feet tall. I'm 6'3", and from what I understand, my grandfather was every bit of 6'6" or so. I think was the way it went. So it was kind of cool. We just started this connection, and then I started to learn a little bit more about the story and a little bit more about the story, and I kind of shut down, quite honestly. It was a bit overwhelming for me, and that's hard for me to admit because I can adapt to most situations pretty easily. But it was kind of a little bit overwhelming for me, and I was like, okay, listen, I've got my youngest daughter getting married this year. Both my daughter, my youngest daughter, and my son are graduating from college. My parents live halfway across the country from me. We had a lot of stuff going on here in Oklahoma where I live, and so it was one of those make a decision and just kind of find something to shut out. And really, I almost feel like once I got over the, hey, wow, I found my family, I was like, yeah, but what am I going to do with it? And it nagged me. It nagged me for the last year, quite honestly. And finally, I decided to make this video. As far as me, where I grew up. So I was born on the East Coast. And then I grew up in Southern California. Like I said, the beach, the mountains, we had everything there. I had a good time growing up there. When I got out of high school, my parents moved from Southern California to Northern California, in between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe. And as I found out more and more about the Duffield family, I found out that they were in California. So we were in the same state most years up until I was 24. I mean, honestly, 24, 25. But California is a huge place. And I don't need to tell anybody that's from there that, but California is a huge place. You could literally divide California into 3 different types of states. There's Southern California, there's Central California, and there's Northern California. There's 3 different personality types. There's 3 different ways of life. It's just all different. Not to make any excuses or say anything about how, I was too shocked and I ran away from it. I didn't really run. I just kind of retreated into my work, and I got buried in walking my youngest down the aisle and the kids graduating from their college, with their college degrees, and trying to get them set up for success for life. And then, balancing a full-time job on top of that. My work is kind of demanding of me. From time to time, between midnight and midnight, Monday through Friday. So it was kind of cool, just connecting with these folks. I connected with one guy who is a distant relative. He's like a 3rd or 4th cousin, but he was in the Navy as well. His picture on Ancestry was in a Navy uniform, and I was like, hey, that's kind of cool, because I was in the Navy. So again, David and I contacted, and then he said, hey, can I share this with my siblings? And I was like, sure, whatever. I mean, let's keep going down this path. And then I shut down. After growing up in Southern California, I joined the Navy. I tried to do a couple different positions, a couple different career choices prior to that, but I had zero direction. I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do, quite honestly. So joined into the Navy, thought, hey man, I'm gonna go have a good time and do my thing, and I definitely had a good time in the Navy. And when I got out, just after I got out, my second child was born. So my oldest, Ashley, she's in her 30s. She lives out west somewhere. And I've got my son who was born, he's in his mid-20s now. He was born in San Diego, but then, moved to the Midwest when I did. And then I've got my bonus daughter, and my youngest, who is my wife's daughter, but I've been her dad since she was 3 years old. So I'm called dad, and that's just kind of how it is. It's been great watching all three of them grow up and become adults, and now I'm starting to feel my age. I'm, rolling. I rolled past 50 a couple years ago, and now I'm going, okay, listen, time's not slowing down anytime soon. I need to make sure I leave some a trail of tidbits for everybody as I move along in life. So after I got out of the military, I kind of tried to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I took a job straight out of the military as a mailroom clerk at a credit reporting conglomerate agency, not one of the big three, but a credit reporting conglomerate banking industry type of a company. And I was walking past the director's office, and the director was about to lose her mind on the IT department. And I knew, I had the common sense of a kid my age. And I was like, hey, maybe I can fix the problem. And she said, if you fix the problem on my computer, I'm going to get you a job immediately in IT. And so I sat down, and I, by luck, chance, divine intervention, whatever you want to call it, I was able to fix her problem. And I ended up jumping into IT. And I have had an IT career since that time. And that was 1997. So I've been doing this for 28 years almost now. And it's been very good to me. The entire industry has been really, really great for me. So back to the family, for the Duffield family, that's just a little light background of what I've done in my life and where I came from and who I am now. You can see around me, I have a beautiful home office. I work out of here most of the time. I do have to go into the office every once in a while now. I've run a nonprofit, a faith-based nonprofit. I ran one for 10 years, and it took me all of 3 months in to figure out I hated fundraising, but I stuck it out for 10 years, and then I shut the thing down. I just couldn't stand the fact that I had to go out and beg people for money and ask for money to support this nonprofit. So I just decided that I continued to do, my faith-based ministry without having to have a nonprofit wrapped around the outside of it. So anyways, there's more of these videos to come. In 2024, I've written down a goal of mine is to connect via phone, via FaceTime, via whatever, vehicle we can, and really get to know the Duffield side of the family. Very much looking forward to it. I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be. Quite honestly, if it starts to overwhelm me, I'll probably retreat again a little bit, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. So anyways, I'll make the space, and we'll be in touch for the Duffield family that's watching this. I would ask that I am going to start putting a whole bunch of videos. I have a great big content calendar that I've built out, and I have a flaw in my thought process where I think things need to be perfect before they get published. So I am going to publish this regardless of whether I think it's perfect or not. I was told by multiple people, just be yourself, just be authentic, and just put your videos out there, and don't do it for money. Don't do it for gaining followers. Don't do it for any of that. Just do it because that's what you want to do. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to get better and better at this as we move forward, but I will be giving updates on where this thing goes throughout the year in 2024. And then I've got several other topics that I want to talk through. I have a lot of VA talks that are going to be coming up. I've got some reviews on some products that I use. These are not endorsed. I'm not endorsed by any of these companies. I just want to share the things that I have and that I've experienced, and why do I have certain things and not have certain things, and just my experience with them. And then I've got a small podcast where I'm going to try and do some interview things with some folks that I'm close to here in the Oklahoma City metro area. And we'll just see how it goes. I'm not going to commit to any time schedule because that will drive me insane internally. My brain will not wrap around that very well. But I appreciate you sticking around. Hey, thank you. If you're interested in keeping up with me, hit the subscribe button below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you want to leave a comment, please do. I can't guarantee that I'm going to respond to every comment. I've been given a lot of advice about comments and listening to the masses, especially when they start going negative on you. And so if I don't answer you and it was a negative comment and you feel bad, put another comment out there. I probably still won't answer you, but go ahead and do it if it makes you feel better. Anyways, thanks everybody. Also, the music that wraps this video up, that music is produced by my son, who just got his music production degree. Like I said, he created this very, very early on in his university tenure, but he's extremely talented. So the name of his production company is Squareback Productions. If you look for him, like on I think Instagram and some others as well. If I get some links from my kid, I'll put them underneath here. Until then, we're just gonna have to guess. But hey, thanks everybody again, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.